Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Kevin Miller and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Salesfusion, and I want to welcome everybody to today's webinar entitled The CIO's Guide to Marketing Automation. Hello and welcome, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today. My name is Kevin Miller. It's my pleasure to speak to you today about the topic for our webinar, which is the CIO's Guide to Marketing Automation. Some of the items we're going to cover in today's session: the modern SaaS ecosystem, marketing automation trends, adopting marketing automation, what are some of the key considerations, what are some of the blueprint items for integrating marketing automation and CRM, and some of the technical considerations that folks have to take into account if your marketing team is coming to you and they are discussing the possibility of implementing a marketing automation system. Before we begin today's session, I want to take a moment and tell you a little bit about who Salesfusion is, so you can hopefully paint a picture of why we believe we have the right to talk to you about today's topic. We are a pioneer in lead revenue management, the only marketing automation platform that is built on a CRM database. And we do that primarily because we find ourselves as a company integrating marketing and sales very frequently. And what that oftentimes means is, from a technical point of view, we're integrating marketing automation to CRM. Today, as a company, because of how our platform is architected and the work we've done over the years, we integrate to more leading CRM platforms out of the box than any other marketing automation platform in our space today. We believe we are the best marketing automation platform in the industry for integrating marketing to sales because of the fact that we are both a CRM database as well as a marketing automation database. 750 companies worldwide have accessed and downloaded our software. That totals 22 countries. And we are very much known in our industry for a very unique and hands-on approach to our client services and training. The platform itself is very much an all-in-one approach to marketing automation, which means inside of this platform there are a variety of tools that marketers use on a day in and day out basis, everything from email campaigns to nurture marketing to landing pages through lead scoring, etc., all contained within a single platform. And we'll discuss the notion of the platform approach to the point solution approach as we go through today's session. Before we get into it, we want to paint the picture of what the current technology landscape looks like for what we call demand or front office technologies. This is a great graphic that's been put together by the analyst firm Serious Decisions. This is their Serious Directions in technology. And the way they break it out is they look at this from a perspective of operations, reputation, demand, and sales. This is kind of their view of the front end of the funnel and what some of the main categories of technology that are available and what some of the very common technologies that marketers are adopting, as well as the front offices of companies are adopting. Now, what this doesn't do is this doesn't do what we'll do in a few slides, which differentiates from what exists inside the core today, what we'll call the core, versus what exists outside the core. So when you look at things like demand, you've got, of course, marketing automation platform, event management platforms, web optimization, content management, etc. As you go into the sales side of the fence, you have all of the functions that are typically found inside of a CRM system, everything from sales asset management, channel management, compensation management, PRM, Salesforce automation itself, and sales analytics. You then have operational side of the fence, which is heavily on the analytics side of the fence, the BI side of the fence. Then finally, with reputation, you've got a lot of the social tools that are evolving in the market for everything from social intelligence to social collab, PR management through social media management. So what this means to a CIO, and we'll explore this a little bit further, is that you have a lot of different technologies that exist in the cloud that may or may not be connected to your core, and we're going to define what the core is in a little bit, and are oftentimes being procured, paid for, and managed by marketing without any knowledge or interaction with the IT team. And that presents some challenges for IT. And it also presents some challenges for effectively using some of these technologies today. So what this technology landscape looks like is, firstly, it's evolving very, very rapidly. There's new technologies, there's new apps that are popping up on the market on what seems like a month-to-month basis. And it's very much a fragmented market right now with a lot of different point solutions that are starting to move towards what I'd call a core enterprise software deployment. It is very much the path that marketing automation is going down. It's not unlike what CRM looked like 15 years ago, and we'll touch on some of those kind of historical perspectives of how ERP grew up, how CRM grew up, and now how marketing automation is growing up as an enterprise application. Where this is all going, Forrester Research had put out trends and predictions on where marketing technology was going. Their prediction is that it's going to be a $17 billion market in North America alone by 2017. Now, that does not mean purely marketing automation applications. It also means MRM applications like the big apps that are used in consumer retail like a Unica or an Aprimo or Teradata or applications like that, which make up a very substantial portion of that $17 billion. There is very much a rapid migration to platform approach like CRM was in circa 1999, we'll call that. One of my nines got cut off. So when you think about what CRM was in the mid-90s, it began with contact management. And at the time, if you're an IT professional who was in the job force at that time, you would have known that there was forecasting apps, there was quoting apps, there was contact management apps, there was call center apps, there was QA and help desk applications. There was a wide variety of applications that kind of existed as point solutions. And oftentimes, multiple point solutions would have to connect into the ERP or the back office application. So the market evolved, and a lot of those point solutions got brought into one single application, which was normalized on the acronym CRM for Customer Relationship Management. And then you had one platform, CRM, connecting to one back office platform, which is ERP. So you had your front office, CRM, directly integrated to your back office, which was your ERP. And now, kind of where things are going, you've got your back office, your ERP, you've got your front office, your CRM, and then you've got your outside the core office, which is web, social, and marketing, which is beginning to come together as a platform, and that will integrate directly into CRM. So it'll be much more of a straight line from outside the core, your website, and beyond to inside the core, which is your CRM and your ERP applications. Now, the driver behind all this and the driver behind the adoption, and we look at the graphic from Forrester on the right-hand side. This is part of actually a Forrester Wave report, which Salesfusion is featured in, which just came out this week. And what it's talking about is really kind of what is the success rate on applications and where they're at kind of in the adoption curve, so to speak. And marketing automation kind of falls in the middle, as opposed to, let's say, sales automation and CRM, which falls along this line. Much more mature. Marketing automation itself is currently designated as a 3 to 5 year phase to really reach that level of maturity that and value that CRM has achieved. So there's a huge growth period that we're experiencing in marketing automation, and that's going to continue for at least the next 3 to 5 years if these projections are reasonably accurate. Buyer behavior and social web. So these two concepts, which we'll talk a little bit about in a few slides, are really what the driver is for marketing automation. This is why CEOs and CFOs and CMOs all care and are thinking long and hard about tackling marketing automation as an enterprise level project. And the way people buy our products today and services is all done predominantly on the web, at least initially, and a lot of how people move through the upper part of a sales cycle, which would have historically been managed by salespeople and their CRM funnels, has dramatically changed, and we will touch on that in quite a bit more detail. There's also the driver behind integration of marketing and sales, and a lot of research is being done by a number of different analyst firms, and they're looking at companies that are really, really successful and outperforming their competition have one thing in common. They are very much integrating their marketing and their sales actions, because what they're doing is they're realizing that the buyer behavior in the social web has changed, and they're trying to adapt their processes, their technology, and even their people to keep pace with that. So we'll touch on some of the results of a couple of those studies that one of them we commissioned, and some of the other ones were done by Forrester and a few other analyst firms, and they're worth pointing out. So we asked the question, why should a CIO care about marketing automation, or why should a CIO care about marketing technology in general? You think about what the CIO does care about, what is within the CIO's direct control. We'll call that the core enterprise, and that's going to be the desktop of the organization and everything that sits on the desktop. The ERP or the back office, the CRM or the front office, or the financials. These are the things that this and the general infrastructure, network infrastructure of a company. Even with so much moving to cloud computing, this is still what the CIO is most often concerned about. And then that big, thick blue line is the security component of it. How do we protect our data? How do we protect our enterprise, etc.? The thing is, there's this whole animal which lives outside of the core called the marketing enterprise, which right now, frankly, is a wild west of cloud applications. And I pointed to some of that in the previous slide, but you've got, in the serious view, you've got a wide variety of applications that are popping up. They're low cost, and in fact, we take email marketing as a great example. You can go out and buy something like Constant Contact today and start emailing today for under $20 a month. You can go out and start doing social publishing with a tool like Hootsuite for $9 a month. I can go out and use a wide variety of web tools. I can go out and begin PPC advertising and go out and sign up with a landing page tool for $9 a month. I can go out and use a SurveyMonkey to build surveys and landing pages for $19 a month. So there is a huge variety of applications out there that are low cost, and they're acquired with a credit card, and there's zero IT involvement. That presents some potential challenges for IT because IT won't have any visibility into that information. IT won't have any visibility into that data. What tends to happen is pieces of information from all of these different applications are making their way into the core, either by direct upload from Excel into these applications, some web services connection that maybe, you may work with someone, let's say, for example, on the CRM team, and we may have an email tool that connects directly into my CRM tool, and it's going to push email opens into the system, etc. The problem that this creates, and I mentioned a few slides ago that the problem exists both from an IT perspective as well as from a marketer's perspective. The problem that exists is there's no traditional project management around how we move information back and forth between this quote-unquote marketing enterprise and the core enterprise. If you looked at a CRM to ERP integration in the year 2000, that was a 6-month project with one or more project managers managing that that had C-level buy-in, and that there were specific outcomes that were expected. And the outcomes would be measured oftentimes in the ROI or the opportunity cost reductions, etc. So there was a lot of traditional project management into this. Today, we're just throwing things into our CRM system because we can go out on App Exchange and get a couple of cool apps for a few bucks, and I'm going to start dumping data into Salesforce.com or whatever our CRM system may be. This presents a huge challenge because there's no project management behind it. There's oftentimes a wide variety of expected outcomes. What do we really want to get from pushing email opens into a contact record in CRM? Do we really get any value from that? So the thinking has to and is changing more towards how we would have thought about CRM to ERP. We're starting to think about, okay, well, we know we've got marketing automation out here. We're going to acquire a marketing automation application. Now I know in order to really get the value out of both my CRM system, which frankly has become a bit of a stale technology, in order to get the value out of that, I need to plug marketing into it. And conversely, marketing, in order for marketing to make financial decisions, budgeting decisions, they need to pull data back from the CRM. So now you've got a cloud-based enterprise-level app, marketing automation, that needs to connect and communicate with CRM, which is your core, part of your core. There has to be some serious thought going into, well, how do these two applications connect? How do they communicate? Is that communication secure? What data am I going to pull out of CRM and put into this marketing automation application? And where's that data going to live? So there's a lot of traditional now IT decisions that have to come into play that very much fall within the realm of influence of the CIO. Why does this marketing cloud exist in the first place? because CRM alone is no longer enough. CRM alone is not going to get the job done for companies today. CRM itself, I have a background in CRM from the mid to late 90s, and the CRM systems that I sold and had my hands on, they don't look that much different than the average cloud-based CRM system today. They still pretty much are the same exact thing. It's a contact record with activities and tasks and opportunities and management of time and management of funnel and management of analytics. It's really pretty much the same exact technology. The problem is the buyer behavior has changed. The way we communicate with each other has changed. The way we engage with buyers, or the way they choose to either engage with us live or online, has radically changed. The channels themselves that we sell in have changed, and they've evolved, and they've increased in variety. The communication channels, one word, social. So CRM, again, has largely remained the same. And this is why so many owners of CRM systems are out actively looking to add marketing automation to the mix. This is why there's been some large acquisitions by CRM systems of marketing technology, because people are starting to come around to the notion that traditional CRM systems simply aren't going to cut it anymore. The reason is the challenges that exist with modern B2B sales and the CRMs that support modern B2B sales. There's a statistic that Serious Decisions put out from a research study that's pretty telling. 70% of a buy cycle may be self-directed and completed prior to sales engaging with somebody live. That's what they'd found in this study, and they did a pretty extensive study on this. What does this mean? What does self-directed engagement mean? Think about how you buy something. I begin on Google. I may go to the website. I may bounce around the website. I may bounce out to a company's Facebook page. I may go out to their LinkedIn. I may read some tweets from them. There's a whole new category of social engagement that's occurring between buyer and seller. And oftentimes the seller has no idea that that's actually going on. Traditionally, we find things on the web, but now we evaluate companies socially on the web. And I don't mean just by reading tweets. I mean by their blog posts, their LinkedIn profile, their Facebook page. There's a wide variety of different channels and networks that companies are pushing lots and lots of information out to try and capture the attention of these people who are evaluating. And we do this whole presentation around telesales and the death of cold calling, which really digs into this topic, and it's a really interesting topic. In fact, I believe we're probably doing a session on that tomorrow, so I'll make sure everybody who's on this gets an invite to that. If you think today's worthwhile, tomorrow might be as well. But then the engagement part, by the time people are getting here and engaging with a live salesperson, a good portion of their opinions about your company may very well be formed and difficult to change. Sales used to control the dissemination of information throughout the sales cycle. Now they don't. Your website, blogs, the entire social web is now in control of that. So this whole self-paced journey is difficult to manage with traditional CRM. So we need marketing automation systems that are able to capture and identify web behavior of individuals and push that to CRM so that sales can engage with them back live at the right time. So there's that's hands down one of the biggest drivers. One of the biggest things that companies benefit from with marketing automation is the fact that a first-party cookie is placed on someone's machine when they open or click an email or fill out a form, in which case I can then tell when that person comes back to my website, what information they're looking for, what are they downloading. That's huge information, a huge benefit to salespeople, but today's topic's not about salespeople. But that is one of the key things that's going on in our industry right now. Marketing automation is hands down the hottest segment in SaaS. The growth rates of companies like Salesfusion and others in our space is very high. There's a severe disconnect that exists between marketing and sales right now. And C-level people are beginning to realize that this needs to be fixed in order for them to meet their revenue goals. This disconnect that exists means that marketing is doing all of these online activities and the information is not making its way over to sales, or the way we capture and manage leads now is not directly matched up with how we have historically sold products in the past. Buyer control of online product research. The social web removes power from sales. CRM supports the old way, and MA supports the new way of sales. If I stand up in a room of marketing people or stand up in a room of salespeople and I talk about the disconnect between marketing and sales, I could, play it up to the marketing folks and say, hey, you do all this work to generate all these campaign clicks and these downloads, and we send this over to sales in a spreadsheet, and we never hear from those leads again. Sales is dropping the ball, and they're not doing their job. And then if I stand in a room full of salespeople, I would say, unless I wanted to get fruit thrown at me, I would say it's marketing's fault. Marketing is willy-nilly throwing lists of unqualified suspects over the fence at me, and I really don't have time to call down each and every single one and do the qualification of it. So there's this blame game and there's this disconnect, which creates what we call an adversarial relationship between the two. So as we look at companies that are integrating marketing automation and getting to the point where they're adversarial in nature to disconnected in nature, up through integrated and automated, the more they do down that horizontal axis, the better value they get. And value out of both systems, actually, both CRM and the marketing automation system. The value derived from that actually increases up the y-axis. So these are kind of the 4 stages that companies are going to go through. They're going to have that adversarial stage, which exists at a lot of companies today. I see it every day. And in prior lives, when in consulting roles going into companies, it exists in many, many companies, and it still does today. There's the disconnected, where they may be on the same page, at least in terms of what they want to do, but they can't accomplish it because all the things that sales uses out, that marketing uses out in that quote-unquote marketing enterprise or that marketing cloud are not connected to what salespeople use on a day-in, day-out basis. So they then move to integrated. That's where I'm starting to push data from marketing into sales. And it's usually one directional at this level, and it's usually marketing to sales. When you get to automated, what you're doing is you are bidirectionally integrating between the two applications. We'll get into what that means in a few slides, but that's the key to being fully automated between marketing and sales, having bidirectional integration between marketing and sales. Now, if you're a CIO on the line or an IT person on the line, hear what I just said, bidirectional integration, which means we are going to take info out of our CRM, the core, and pull it back down to the marketing cloud. That can be scary for some people, depending on what industry you're in. So you want to make sure that the vendor that you're working with is highly reputable. It's not a fly-by-night just started company. It's somebody that's got a good, solid customer base. It's somebody that's recognized by somebody like a Forrester Research and has put the time and the effort in to build their own data center, their own security, and their own processes to handle pulling data out of your core and bringing it into their system. So that there's some important IT considerations that go along with that. What everybody's trying to do is they are trying to match processes with buyer behavior. What they're trying to do is learn, and if we go on the outside wheel, how people engage, the buyer journey, they call it. People discover info, they explore, they buy, they engage, they advocate, they buy again. So what folks are doing is they're trying to model the lead to revenue management process, is what Forrester calls it, to having the ability to capture, nurture, sell, build advocacy, upsell, cross-sell, kind of the inside. They're trying to match this entire process from start to finish, and that's known as the lead to revenue management process. That's the way Forrester classifies marketing automation systems that are integrated to CRM, lead to revenue management, because you really need both pieces in order for that to work. So marketers are focusing on the new buyer journey. They're establishing processes that are enabled by technology. Their processes are bringing marketing and sales together, which is resulting in better decisions based on analytics. Great. Those are 4 great things that marketers and sales are doing together. What that means is my marketing technology and my sales technology need to be on the same page, at least at some level, in order for any of these bullet points to work, or in order for us to make the middle part of this circle match up with the outer circle, which is how people are buying. Matching processes with buyer behavior, right? This results in big data sets. And I know everybody's probably tired already of hearing the big data word thrown around, but I'm going to use it anyway because it's very much a reality when you're dealing with marketing data. There's no bigger data than marketing data. And having the ability to decide which of that data makes sense to get pushed into the CRM system and which data from the CRM we need to pull back. Marketing needs IT's help to do that. They need help to manage it, interpret it, store it, and optimize it, because marketers by nature are not database analysts, and they don't have experience in dealing with quote-unquote big data, whereas IT does. So this is a part of this equation that's really becoming more and more prominent. And there's implications of pushing data into CRM systems that we have to think about, meaning what if I'm paying on a storage base for my CRM? Or what if my CRM is going to, the cost per user of my CRM is going to increase exponentially if I'm pouring more and more and more contacts into it as a result of my marketing efforts and as a result of us modeling this circle here? Is that just going to blow up the size of my CRM database? Am I going to be pushing unqualified suspects into my CRM database, which is going to ultimately have the inverse effect and frustrate my sales team? So nobody knows how to move data better than IT, and that's why CIOs in part need to care about this. That's why CIOs need to have a hand in this. That's why CIOs have to drive some of these integrations, at least with some level of traditional project management expertise, because marketing will not have that expertise. So the CMOs and the CIOs, and we'll use these terms. You could be a VP of IT or director of IT and the director of marketing. It doesn't really matter. We're just using these terms as blanket terms. Marketing and IT, they do have to get on the same page. CMOs are being challenged at many companies today to be 100% focused on revenue and make all budget decisions based on revenue outcomes. Revenue outcomes require marketing integration with CRM. Integration requires marketing, sales, and IT involvement. This is a common sense set of bullets logically. There's a study that was done by Forrester this year, and it talked about which of the following describe the top 3 biggest challenges in setting the marketing budget. Number 1, connecting marketing goals with business objectives to justify required budget. Number 2, attribution of revenue results to justify budget. Where does revenue live? Revenue doesn't live in a marketing system. Revenue lives in CRM, in opportunity management, funnel management. So, bidirectionally speaking, right? So going way beyond just simply pushing email opens from a marketing system into CRM, we need to be able to push leads, pre-qualified leads, or SQLs as we call them in marketing, sales qualified leads, into the CRM system. Alert sales that a new lead is in there. Push a lead source or some unique identifier with that lead that will then get sucked into an opportunity if and when an opportunity is created on that contact record. That part of the equation, marketing has no control over. That's all controlled by the CRM system. So CRM, which is typically managed and owned by IT, has to have that visibility into what marketing and sales are trying to accomplish together. So the three-headed monster sitting around the conference room table needs to be marketing, sales, and IT, talking through the process of what you're trying to accomplish. If what we're trying to accomplish is to better justify our spend with hard revenue results, then marketing needs to be able to see and automatically pull back opportunity data so they can create these really great looking reports which says I spent $1,000 and I generated $2,000. And then decisions become easy at that point. So when the CMO comes a-knocking for money, there's things that you have to consider about marketing automation that may not be initially considered by most middle-level marketers, people that haven't acquired technology before. And the culture of the extended marketing enterprise we talked about, that thing outside the core where I'm buying this for $9, this for $20, this for $15, there's a certain perception that's been created that marketers can just go out and buy a piece of technology for next to nothing, try it out. If they don't like it, throw it to the curb. And that's just been the way it is. You know, marketing technology has been easy to acquire, cheap, credit card, don't like it, cancel it, move to the next thing, and there I go. Butterfly, hopping from flower to flower to find out which one has the best pollen, so to speak. That's not the way it's going to work when you integrate marketing automation into CRM. You didn't just go out and try, years ago, Siebel and Oracle and kick the tires on that. You had a full-blown enterprise project that went out and implemented, tested, and you had outcomes and expected outcomes and run-in periods and all that fun stuff that went along with implementing any substantial technology. So marketers themselves have to come to the realization that the $9.99 tool is no longer going to cut it, because that's not going to integrate with CRM, period. And if it does, it's going to integrate at such a rudimentary level, you're not going to get what you think you want to get. So you need true marketing automation. Salesfusion puts our pricing on our website. There's a pricing calculator. You can go and plug in the amount of contacts that you're going to put in the system, and it will spit out a number and tell you exactly what your monthly is going to be. Other things that you have to factor in for, though. Okay, what is the investment category? So technology. Are you going to require additional technology? Not for servers and technology in a traditional sense. However, let's say, for example, we are going to be creating a lot more landing pages. Do you have creative staff on hand, or do you need to go out and buy an enterprise license for the Adobe Creative Suite? Or are we going to source that out to an agency, in which case that's going to go down to professional services bucket. Are we going to need more people to run the marketing automation system than we have today? Or can we get by with less people or the same? Are we going to need additional IT assistance on the CRM side of the fence? And if we're bulked up and if we're at capacity with our IT, are we going to need to go out and procure additional IT resources? Training. Most vendors, such as Salesfusion, we host training classes in Atlanta once a quarter. We have an annual conference where folks come in for training as well. You factor in the costs of sending people out to get expertise in these type of systems. There's no Marketing Automation 101 course in college. So everybody's earning while you're learning. Just like there was no CRM class in college when CRM started. You have to earn while you learn. So there has to be an investment in training. And then the investment in integration. Typically you're going to be dealing with time and human capital resources internally for that. However, if you're dealing with heavy-duty customization of your existing CRM, you're going to need to procure some additional professional services resources. I think these figures are probably a little high for that Forrester put out. This is a Forrester graph. I don't think you're really going to be seeing things like 50 to 100K in mid-market for us, and we deal in the mid-market predominantly. 20 million to 500 million is kind of the space that we live in the most. If we have custom integration work, connecting into a Microsoft or a SalesLogic or something along those lines, a few $1,000s is typically going to handle it. But we're different because we're built on a CRM system, and for us, integrating with CRM is old hat. So some of the other vendors, if you're looking at an Eloqua or something along those lines that started out as an email tool and it becomes something else over time, yeah, you could be looking at a 40, a 50, a 100K integration project. So you just have to really be careful and understand that. Marketers oftentimes won't be schooled enough in technology purchasing to ask the right questions, and can oftentimes get frustrated with an application after the fact when they realize that in order to do this thing or that thing, I've got to then go and procure a professional services resource for that. So helping marketers procure the application and understanding what the implications are other than the monthly fee are important things that IT can do to help. The decision criteria around marketing automation. So let me just prove the last point. In the LinkedIn group, Technology Marketing, a great LinkedIn group, by the way, highly recommend people going out and join it. This was actually a survey that they had put out. I had read the survey a couple of weeks ago and borrowed a couple of their statistics from their report. The cost of ownership is the dominant criteria for evaluating marketing and automation solutions. Not surprising, because marketers are historically cheap when it comes to marketing technology. $9 a month, $20 a month, $49 a month, $199 a month. They've always kind of operated around the periphery of technology procurement, going out and getting things cheaply, getting them on a corporate credit card, and keeping IT out of the mix. That's not going to work anymore, because marketing automation systems, I don't care what anybody says, they are not cheap. They're going to cost more than $500, $600, $700 a month, $800 a month. That's typically something that if you're going to spend $7, $8, $10, $15, $20, $30,000 a year, you're going to have to get somebody else's approval, and it's usually going to involve IT at one point or another. The other, product integration, predominantly to CRM, and we see this every day. Every person who evaluates Salesfusion is evaluating us because of our integration with CRM systems, because IT has gotten involved. They said, okay, well, if we're going to go out and we're going to buy a marketing automation system and invest time and personnel in it, we need to make sure that it's going to work great with our installed CRM. So because we integrate with so many CRM systems, we typically find ourselves in those discussions. Collaboration between marketing and IT is going to be critical in making good decisions about which vendor to bring in. Oftentimes it's not the most widely known vendor. It's going to be driven by how well a particular vendor integrates with your CRM system. That time and time again is one of the key drivers here. And sales access. Who's using a marketing automation system? Now, the other thing to consider is most marketing automation systems are actually used by a very small group of people, 5 to 10 people in the marketing department. However, sales accesses marketing automation data. 45.1% of sales teams are accessing marketing automation data, but only through the CRM platform, and that's actually a good thing. The last thing you want is a marketing automation system deployed where you've got 150 salespeople accessing it directly. Not a good idea. You really want the number of direct end users in the MA system to be relatively small, but the people accessing the data through CRM to be very, very high. In fact, for us, we don't have any license fees. So there's no per user license fees. And part of the reason is we want to encourage sales to use our data and our system through CRM because we believe it benefits them the greatest. And we believe that if sales becomes a fan of our technology, it's highly unlikely that that technology is going to go away at that company. So some important distinctions about who's using CRM and who has access to it. So when we look at marketing automation and we look at what a traditional CRM system looks like, I drew this contact card, and I guarantee you virtually every CRM system looks something like this. As I mentioned, I have a background in CRM from many years ago. From what I remember of it and what I see today, you've got a contact card. You've got some kind of activity level history. You've got opportunity data. Now what's being added, though, is the marketing automation data. Oftentimes we're connecting either with a pre-built web service or connecting with an API and a custom integration. That's another way that people will connect. The pre-built connections with the CRM apps are the ones that should be explored first, because when you deal with something like, let's say, for example, Microsoft Dynamics, you've got major upgrade considerations that come into play, and also you've got to take into consideration the fact that something like a Dynamics or even Sales Logics, for that matter, is going to be deployed either in the cloud or on-premise. So then you've also got other considerations to factor in. So if a vendor has a pre-built connection to both the premise-based and the hosted-based versions of something like Sales Logics or something like Microsoft Dynamics, then that's a huge decision criteria point, especially for the IT folks. Contact lead accounts are typically connected via a GUID, an email, or persistent cookie. So what happens is if this contact card is Kevin Miller, and Kevin Miller's open and clicked on an email, let me go back to that one sec, or open and clicked on an email, I'm able to push MA data, email, web, activity, forms data, event, attendance, etc., into objects that are installed in the CRM. Now, this is another consideration. You can install objects or entities or tables from the marketing automation system into the CRM, meaning that there'll be a new piece inside of the contact record called events, and you can go in there and there's actual real database fields that are being populated with marketing data. Consideration has to be given to that. That's usually the preferred method if you can do that instead of an iframe, because once that data goes inside a CRM, it's fair game to run workflow on it, to write great reports on it, to do advanced find queries against it, to build task lists for sales, on all the fun things that you can do in CRM. Once marketing pushes that data into these quote-unquote native objects or tables or entities, then it opens up the whole process world to how we can use and create cool processes out of this information. What we're looking at when we're looking at the marketing world and the CRM world, it's a combination of single and bidirectional data flow, where the marketing automation system is going to ultimately act as the front-end DB for the website and any unstructured campaign data, including big lists of suspects. The data flows are going to be dictated by how a company maps their lead flow process. Ideally, what you want is the marketing automation database to be the one that's abused That's the one that's going to have all of the unstructured data that most salespeople consider to be garbage in it, but then to have the intelligence built into that app to make decisions about when we push data to the CRM system. Bidirectionally, you're looking at the syncing of account, contact, lead, task, and opportunity data. That's going to move back and forth. The single directional is going to be the pushing of campaign activity, email, forms, events, web activity, campaign responses, and lead scores are going to be pushed from the marketing system over to the CRM. The opportunity piece is one of the key pieces that marketing wants. Then as this gets pushed in and opportunities get created, we pull back opportunity data into here so that we can do that whole revenue analytics thing. But this is just a quick brief kind of visual way of thinking about how data is going to move back and forth between a marketing system and a CRM or an SFA. Part bidirectional, part single directional. Serious Decisions has a number of really good project guides around this, kind of blueprints for a project manager to kind of help manage an integration like this. We could probably make that document available to anybody who may want it. Just shoot me an email, kevin.miller@Salesfusion at the end, and I can go and see if we can't get a copy of this if you're actively involved in evaluating marketing automation and CRM. Couple of bullet points that I kind of summarized from it, though. The MA system must have access to contact, account, activity, and purchase data. Purchase data if you're going to use things like, and that doesn't have to mean retail purchases, that could mean which software have they licensed from you, because that could drive nurture marketing campaigns or upsell or cross-sell campaigns. Data flows between Corp apps is critical to understand how they work together to form one system that's going to ultimately power the marketing automation system. Meaning, is there other parts that are going to feed the marketing automation system? The other most common thing is the content management system or your CMS or your website. Understand all the touch points between the apps and make sure you understand how new or revised records, when something occurs in one system, what happens in the other system. And what the time lag of that's going to be, because that could impact certain processes. For example, if somebody unsubscribes from your email campaign, we want to immediately push the unsubscribe status into CRM so that sales doesn't use their own email capabilities in Outlook or whatever to send them a prospecting email if they've unsubscribed from communications from you, because that can cause an uncomfortable situation. If the updates aren't occurring, a master data management project should be initiated. If you're not getting data moving back and forth between your two applications because of either something lacking on the vendor side of the fence or broken processes, etc., treat it like a traditional project. If the CRM system serves as a central repository, the MA system will only need to integrate with the CRM system, not the ERP, etc. How marketing system can be integrated and its data structure is strongly influenced by the applications currently in place. So outline limitations and requirements of the CRM concerning how it takes in, maintains, and provides data. User license considerations. We talked a little bit about the way we license. We don't have licenses per se, but some marketing automation vendors do, so be aware of that. And then finally, email authentication. This is a huge thing, and we actually spend a lot of time with our customers on this about adhering to sender authentication standards. The domain key, the DKIM, and the SPF, Center ID. This helps you authenticate messages from the marketing automation system. So it doesn't say send on behalf of Constant Contact, send on behalf of Vertical Response. You know, the $9 a month tools. They don't do that, right? And their deliverability to business is much lower because of that. Web access. Invariably, a marketing automation system is going to have to put code on your website, just like Google Analytics does. So be prepared for that. It shouldn't take long. It should take a matter of 20 minutes, but you're going to have to involve somebody on the IT side who's responsible for your website. CRM installation. The actual installation process requires your CRM administrator actually push buttons. Salesfusion has never and will never gain access to your CRM administration tools, and you do not want that. So you have to have somebody on staff or a partner, your CRM partner, ready, willing, and able to do that. That's a hidden cost center for a lot of folks if you're using outsourced CRM resources. If you don't have that skill set on staff and you need to go out and talk to your CRM integrator, that could be a project that could be a couple $100. It could be a few $1,000s. Internal support. Do you have an IT employee that's basically responsible for managing support-related issues with the CRM integration? Somebody who understands the language and can call into support at Salesfusion and explain at a technical level that something's going on with the integration. Typically, that's your CRM administrator. But again, if you don't have one, you have to take that into consideration as well. If you do it right, if you do marketing automation and you do CRM integration right, there's a lot of dividends to be had. Aberdeen did a study and found that the top performing companies in the space, 73% of them were integrating website visits. 73% of companies that were outperforming their competition had web page visits integrated to CRM. Why is that important? Why could that impact revenue? It has to do with how people buy. If you understand what people are doing on your website and associated web presences, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, blog, if you understand what people are doing on those sites, you're going to sell to them more efficiently and effectively. You're going to sell more, in other words. This is not rocket science, and this isn't pie-in-the-sky ROI metrics. There's hard ROI metrics from a dozen Aberdeens out there that have looked at this. We commissioned a study ourselves. Demand metric. 80% of companies that were achieving their revenue goals, what was their degree of marketing and sales integration, systems-wise? 80% of them were integrating marketing and sales systems. This isn't our customer base. This is a broad set of 1,600 companies they polled and received survey responses from. So there's tangible benefits. The C-level executives are beginning to understand the implications of this, and the new buyer journey is driving companies to adapt to this new reality. That wraps up our session for today. We came in right at around the 45-minute mark. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording.